You're listening to the WB Download, coming to you from Wheel & Builder's showroom in Studio 1C. We are a podcast centered around building custom homes, the customer experience of building a custom home, and a really entertaining listen from many great guests and interviews that may or may not have anything to do with building. I'm excited to share with you their voice and their stories that will enhance your idea of the custom builder world. All right, everybody. Welcome. This is Jeff Whelan, president of Wheel & Builders, coming to you live from Studio 1C here in Wheel & Builders headquarters. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday, June 27th. I cannot believe we are already at the end of the month of June. Feels like this summer is slipping by. But hey, our guest today is just incredible. And I am so excited to have her on here. I can't say enough good things about her. Has absolutely nothing to do with building houses, has nothing to do with the industry, but she's a really good friend of mine. She's been a great friend of my wife, which is one of the reasons why I have so much respect for her, but she has got something going on here and we are going to talk about it. So let's just jump right in. There's not much in the what's happening episode right now. We're at the end of June. We're in the dog days of summer. And, we finished up a bunch of houses here in the last couple weeks, last couple months. And we've got one more to go downtown here. That's really a cool house. And then we've got a bunch of others that we've started, and they're scattered out all over the place. So we're rocking and rolling. We're feeling good about things. And man, like I said, it's still just a hot summer, which I'll enjoy because I like it better than the cold weather. But we're rocking and rolling. On the farm, we had our last calf there back in right after the other episode, the last episode we had, and it's rocking and rolling. And now we're good until the fall, until we start calving again. Things on the farm are dry. We need some grass. We need some rain. We need some things to happen out there and keep these cows fat. But other than that, we're taking a little break here on our sports. We're as soon as we're ready to go, we're getting back into football. We've got some football camps, for the kids, and my daughter's into cheer camps already. And man, do they keep us going all the time. And I've heard stories about it. Most of my friends have kids that are older than ours, and they're like, you just wait. Well, I waited, and here we are. But I'm enjoying it, and my wife, I hope she's enjoying it. But I enjoy it. I love watching these kids really get into something, put their heart and soul into something, and it's pretty cool to see them progress. So, hey, all right, let's get started. And my next guest here is none other than Jen Barcenas, a really good friend of ours, and Jen is just you'll find out as sure as we're talking to her. You could see the size of her heart through your speakers, and I can assure you of that. But old girl here has a company that she started called BoxFull, and it is it's going to be a cool story. And I hope you guys really listen. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that when you're done listening to this, you want to be a better person. All right, here we are again, everybody. I'm Jeff Whelan with Wheel & Builders, and I have an incredible guest with me today. A very good friend of mine, very good friend of my wife's, very good friend of ours, I shall say. And excited to bring her in here. Her name is Jen Barcenas, and she is the creator of a company called BoxFull, an idea called BoxFull, and we're going to talk about it today. This has absolutely nothing to do with building houses, and that's what makes it cool. And man, I'm telling you, it's cool to have a friend of mine on here. So let's bring her in. Let's introduce her. Jen Barcenas. How's it going, girl?
It's great. Super nice to be here.
Are you nervous?
I mean,
Don't start that shit.
Well,
where it's like,
it's a formal setup.
It's okay.
I'm fine. I've had a busy day.
Yeah? So are you tired? You want to go home and take a nap? You don't want to keep on going with this?
No, it's fine. I'll do it.
So let's talk about how we know each other. How do we know each other?
I know you because I became friends with your wife.
Really?
Yes.
You don't know me because our kids went to school at a school that you owned.
Yes, but to be clear, I was friends with your wife first.
Really?
Because she's lovely.
Okay. I think the way I met you is I came in for a special Parents' Day, and you forgot everything that was for the Parents' Day, and I had to come into the office, and I was like, did you bring the cookies and everything like that? And you're like, I forgot. And that was
Jeff, that sounds nothing like me.
And that was my first interaction with you, and I think we've been best friends ever since. I think that you and I get along better than you and Shannon do.
I'm not going to put put that on the record.
You're not?
No.
Because she's winking at me right now, by the way, Shannon, as if you're listening. I know that's it. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where did you grow up at? Did you grow up around here? Did you go to school?
No.
Did you go to college? What's your deal?
Yeah, I'm from the Motor City.
Yeah?
I don't know anything about cars.
That's Michigan, by the way. For those of you who are Ohio State fans, you're not allowed to say it.
I went to Michigan State, so usually nobody gives a shit about that. You either care about U of M and Ohio State, and Michigan State's like a throwaway.
Right.
I actually majored in architecture for 3 years.
Did you really?
I did.
Nice.
And I flunked out, which should come as no surprise.
Did you quit or did you flunk out?
No, I flunked out.
Really?
Ball State was like, you don't have to come back.
Okay. All right.
And then finally was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do technical things. Maybe I should do people things. So that's when I got my master's in HR at Michigan State.
Yeah. And you're carrying on with it. So,
I am.
and I think I don't even want to start mentioning companies that you work for because I'm not sure if they are approving of the WB download or not, and they're going to come after us and sue us for everything that we've said. So you went to college. Where did you go to high school at up there? Where did you, what town did you grow up in?
So all over Metro Detroit, Dearborn, where Ford is headquarters. My dad worked at Ford. So we were kind of all over the Metro Detroit area. They're now in Romeo, which is also outside of kind of Metro Detroit. But
Romeo close to Juliet, or is that different?
has nothing to do with that, actually. Not even a little.
You tell it's a dad joke. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, I mean, I laughed a little bit.
You didn't get it until okay.
Okay. So anyway, we still go to Michigan a lot, but I came down to Cincinnati after grad school. I got a job in the auto industry, we'll just say. And right before that all went to shit and went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Found a job here in Cincinnati. So we moved to Cincinnati.
And that was what year was that? 2009. 9. Yeah.
Are you trying to age me, Jay?
No, I can only remember when the building business went to hell.
Yeah, it was about the same time.
But I forget that the car business and the building business usually follow along with each other
Which
pretty well.
honestly sucked for all my architecture fellow grads because they were graduating as like no one's building, so then definitely no one's designing. So most of them didn't have jobs.
And that had an after effect on it, believe it or not. Just a little tidbit is that they had a hard time getting kids to sign up for construction, anything in colleges or vocational schools for a long period of time because they saw what happened to all these builders, all these families, anybody that was involved in the construction industry. And they're like, I don't want that to happen to me. So there was colleges that were literally had, if they had 1,000 students in there, they had 300,
geez.
Yeah. Cause they didn't want to go through that stuff. So the Motor City or Michigan, we were just up there and I didn't understand why anybody ever wanted to go to Michigan, and we were just in Harbor Springs and a little while ago, and I love it. I love it up there. I mean, it's just one of the greatest places on earth, and I think it's cool. That is
like my happy place.
Yeah.
Western Michigan is gorgeous. All those Pure Michigan commercials call to me when I hear them on the radio because the summers are beautiful, the falls are beautiful, and if you're into snow, the winters are beautiful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you have 2 kids.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Same age as yours.
Yeah, they're the same age as ours, and again, which is how we know each other, not just because of Shannon.
Right.
And your husband, Juan. Let's talk about that cat. Man, what a good dude.
He was not in any of the questions you sent me ahead of time.
I didn't. I'm not going to give you everything. We talk. He and I talk. I'm not going to give you everything. I'm not going to show you. But how does a guy like? Do you keep up with him, or does he keep up with you? Which way is it?
Kindly keeps up with me.
Yeah.
I had a friend ask me once, they're like, what does Juan think of you? And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does Juan think of me? I was like, he thinks I'm amazing.
I'm glad somebody asked you that because I wonder the same thing. It's like, how does he do it? I mean, you're like here and there and everywhere. And he's like, he's like, Juan. He's like chill, just good dude.
He is like steady, consistent, get stuff done, and then very kindly supports me in all the craziness.
That's good.
Like buying a daycare.
Yeah.
Like starting a business.
Yeah. Just do it. Heck with it. What do you do for a living right now?
So my day job is HR, which is like my master's degree in. And I do love HR, but I would love even more to have my own business.
What is HR? I mean, is it hiring and firing? Is it keeping people in line? Is it reprimanding people because they were late? I mean, what is?
We could do a whole podcast on HR.
I'm sure I have lots of
audience would love to learn.
I have another guy that we go to church with who's HR of a big company, and they are super just good people. I mean, you're a great people person, you know what I mean? But what is it? Because I think that I know some of the stuff that you do, and it's like what do you do?
It's a giant random bucket of things. I mean, so I work in like a generalist function. So I'm supporting a client group. You talk to employees about career development. You help the business design what their organization structure should look like based on business needs. You're a therapist, quite frankly, in a lot of cases for employees and for managers. I mean, it's a lot of things, but I'm more on the business partner side of it. So I'm not running compensation reports. I'm not doing recruiting. It's more servicing the population.
So you're not hiring and firing and doing sexual harassment causes and all that stuff like that?
I mean, I do some of those.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about them? I mean, like, what's the funkiest thing you've ever run into in HR?
Oh my God. This is not that kind of podcast.
Really? It's whatever. No, you're right. It's probably not.
We probably have to pause
I have a lot of customers listening and they're probably like, what in the world were you doing with that lady on here telling those stories?
we can save it for after the fact, off the record.
Okay. All right. I'm like our HR lady. I mean, she works for GMS, which does our payroll and does our insurance. And
I'm sure she loves working with you.
Yeah, she does. She thinks it's great. I mean, I'm like, the worst thing I do is say that's what she said all the time, and that just gets me in trouble. But it's true.
You're like job security for HR people,
right? But they do more stuff like making sure my paperwork's filed and my I-9s are in the right spot and things like that. So I don't know. Again, HR gets to be different. So what makes you? And I think I know the answer to this, but I want the American people listening to this to find out what makes you great at your job.
Well, not my organizational skills.
No, it's
as
not
you
your
pointed
organizational
out
skill. I could have told you that.
I mean, it's kind of sappy, but I genuinely care about people.
Yeah.
And part of like when we bought the daycare, the idea is like people at work, especially in corporate America, which is where I've been primarily, people don't feel valued. They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel supported at work. And as an HR person, you get tired of being on the kind of receiving end of employees complaining about it or seeing like benefits getting stripped back and having to be the face of delivering that. So I think that that's something that I think about all the time, being an employee advocate, caring about employees. And so I think because I am a high feeler, not in an inappropriate way.
Yeah, that's a little crossing a line for HR there.
That came out wrong.
You're not supposed to say that.
Just edit that part out.
We won't play it.
But because I care about people very much, and that's my primary focus, I think that's what makes me a good HR person.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's deep.
Oh, real
That's deep.
I know.
All I can imagine right now is just Juan's just covered with love all the time because you're such a people person.
All right. Well, let's not.
You're walking in the house smiling, hugging everybody, and just like, I love you.
Yes, all the time.
So how did you and Juan meet, by the way?
Well, speaking of sexual harassment,
He was in your office getting reprimanded.
No. I was actually an intern at General Motors, and we met. He was in like the health and safety department, and I was in the labor relations department. And we met that summer when I interned, and I thought it'd be a summer fling.
Oh, really?
But we still liked each other after the summer, so we just kept going.
That's what you thought of him.
I'm pretty sure it was mutual.
Was it? In it to win it. That's it, man. You're done. In it for the T-shirt. So, what about? What was I going to ask you about Juan? So, do you speak Spanish?
I mean, a little bit.
Because Juan's
from Mexico.
He's from Mexico.
He came here in college.
Yeah.
So his whole family has been in Mexico primarily. His parents don't speak English, so I can speak Spanish to them. If you drop me off in Mexico on my own, I'm screwed. But I think that his parents have like figured out between some hand gestures, a little bit of like, "Hey Alexa, how do you say?" We can communicate without him. Yeah,
I think it's hard not to these days where people have all the kinds of different things. One of my guys that works for me sent me a message by accident this morning that he was supposed to send to his dad, and it was in Spanish. Oh, so I had to hit the convert button. Yeah. And I figured out what he said. So I think that he thinks I'm going to think that I'm smart because I'm like, man, I know Spanish. And everybody knows there's a convert button on there. Like, no, I'm not so smart anymore. So have you ever been to like real Mexico? Not like Cancun, but like you've been to like real Mexico?
Yeah. We've been to a couple places before kids. My whole family went with us to an area called Guanajuato, which is like 2.5 hours ish from Mexico City.
That sounded Spanish when you said that. It was
really good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Hey girl.
Well, anyways, I'll butcher everything else, but we went there. So my whole family, his whole family all met there for Christmas, and we all rented a house, and there were like 25 of us in the house for Christmas. So that was kind of cool. And we've been to San Miguel
Yeah.
and some other places, but
Cool.
yeah, his family is like more central Mexico, so no beaches.
I'd like to go there sometime. That'd be cool. That would be cool. So let's talk about your company. Let's talk about this. Not the reason why you're here. The reason why you're here is because you know my wife, apparently, not because you and I know each other.
You're doing Shannon a favor. Thank you, Shannon.
You know, yeah, thank you. As always, that's the only, I thank her and thank God, and that's where I go. I can attest that you're a hugger, right? You're pretty good at it. You're really good at it.
It is a weird thing to say, but yes, I agree.
You're really
and I think I am.
I think you are. I'm telling you.
I'm a hugger.
Yeah, and you're a damn good one. But tell me about your business that you have here. It's called BoxFull, and which is based on hugs essentially. So let's hear it. What's your rip?
All right. So I started BoxFull 2.5 years ago. The end of 2020, I had a close friend and her mom passed away from COVID, and they lived in Texas. So I couldn't get on a plane and go be there. And she's a close enough friend that I would have gotten on a plane to be there. So you sent flowers because you send flowers for everything, but it felt kind of empty, when you're that close to someone and it's such a major event. So I was looking, because I'm a hugger, I was like, is there some kind of hug gift or send a hug? And I couldn't find anything. And I came across a teddy bear that had long arms. So I thought, well, maybe I could make her a hug. And so I attached the arms to the box flap. So the whole concept is that you're sending a hug in a box.
Wait, did you rip the arms off the bear and attach them to the box?
I mean, that could have been another approach,
Why don't you just rip the head off and throw it in a box and be like, here, sorry.
That's disturbing.
It is disturbing.
So thank God I made it as the caring, thoughtful person I am, and not you. So I just attached the arms, which were attached to the bear, to the box.
All right.
So that when you open the box, the arms open with it for a hug.
That's cool.
And I wrote a little poem that if I could fit in the box to hug her, I would. But since I can't, you hug the bear instead. And then Juan and I were like, oh, that's kind of cute. And we'd like to have our own business. Like maybe other people would like to not send flowers and send something else. So then we immediately started doing it.
That's cool. So it was a result of your love for your friend, but it was also a kind of a COVID thing because you're restricted. I mean, I shake hands with everybody, and I there's a few people that I hug, but I mean when that's your trademark, man, and you're in COVID, that sucks.
Weird.
You can't do anything.
And also it just especially when you're close to someone, and that still even outside of COVID exists. You're still loved ones with our schedules that you can't just be in another state on a moment's notice. But I don't care if somebody does sit around their kitchen thinking what can I sell or what business can I start? That's a totally different approach. But for me, it's extra special because I wasn't trying to create a business. I just wanted to comfort her, and then a business came out of it. Right. So that for me, all the touchy-feelies.
Turn your hobby and passion into a business, and you'll be good. So how does it work? I mean, if I want to send a bear, what do I got to do? I mean, are you marketing? What's the deal?
Yeah, we started on Etsy. We're now on our own website. We've sold almost 2,000 bears. So 2,000 hugs have gone out into the world. So our website is sendaboxfull.com. Our website kind of sucks because I made it. So we actually just 2 months ago got a grant from Main Street Ventures, and part of that was to improve our website and some other things. So small business, we're working on scaling, but so that's where you can go today. But I'm hoping to improve the experience soon.
Are you like all these other companies in the world where if you go to your website, there's no phone number to call, there's just a contact button? Or how does somebody want to find out about you and make it as easy as possible to send a bear, spend some money, send a bear?
The website's the easiest place to do it. We don't have a phone number. You send an email, but I am on my phone all the time, so I'm very responsive. But following us on social media is another way that people get in touch, because we've done a lot of custom boxes for people. And so even if it's not something, even if you don't see something, you can. So
if I have a friend that loves Michigan and their heart's broken, can I write something down and you put it in there, or can I call you and say, write something fancy, dress the bear up in Michigan, send it to this cat? How does it work?
So we have some we can do custom where you would reach out to me and we would brainstorm and figure it out. Then there are some that are curated, already ready to go.
Yeah.
And then when you check out, you can include a message, and we include your personal message on the card.
Okay. And where do you ship? You ship all over the world.
We've only shipped in the U.S. mostly because I don't know how to figure out shipping internationally and taxes.
I think it just costs more money, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's import-export tax.
Is there?
I don't know. That's why I'm not doing
Figure it out. You're so smart.
Well, for now, what I've done is if somebody wanted to ship to the UK, which we have done, I ship it to them, and our shipping is free. So I'll ship it to you, and then you can figure out how to get it to your global person.
All right. That sounds complicated enough. You could probably Google that, and we call it GCS. You got to Google that shit and figure it out. But
I'll Google it along with the 500 other things I don't know how to do.
Are you based here in Are you based here in Mason, Ohio?
I am.
Is that what you're considering?
In Mason, Ohio. Yeah.
Not here, but in Mason.
Yeah, we're in Mason, out of our basement.
Yeah.
For now, but looking forward to the day that we need a distribution center and an office and people.
So not our goal, your goal.
We can share the goal. Help me, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm here with you, man. I'm supporting you. I've been driving this thing. I think it's great. I think you're doing a great job. Would be to get some more money. I mean, more money. But would your goal say? Let's say your goal would be to be on Shark Tank, right?
That is definitely a goal. I'm super inspired by Sarah Blakely.
Yeah.
Who did Spanx. I want to grow it into a company because the one piece is obviously I love the product and we've developed it and whatever, but the HR part of me also really wants my own company to decide what your benefits are and make you feel supported and try to create a workplace, which is very idealistic. I understand it's not always that way, but I'd love to have a work environment that I was in charge of.
I'd be curious to see how that really works on Shark Tank. If that's a lot of an act, or if some of them are really assholes to you, when they start eating you up like that.
Yeah.
And if that's kind of like a little bit Jerry Springer, if that's for real.
No, I mean, I think it's for real. I've talked to 4 or 5 different people that have been on Shark Tank, just reaching out and networking.
Don't mention my name because I just called them all a bunch of assholes too. They're probably not going to want to.
Do you want to help our business,
all
Jeff?
36 of our listeners are going to go back and get us on Shark Tank. So,
but I have talked to a couple of people and they said it's really intense, and what you see is only a small portion of the hours that they're standing in front of them.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be cool. I think it would be helpful. But I think also you could put the word out there that if somebody's looking for an investment, a silent investor, where they're just wanting to give you money to see this thing succeed and take some dividends on it, that you're open for that, right? I think you could add a button like that to your website. If you want to be an investor, click here.
I mean, I feel very strongly that we have a ton of potential. We send boxes, actually about 70 to 75% of them go to adults. So they're not, I think people think stuffed animals and they think little kids, but we send a lot to adults. It's anything from a long distance relationship, birthdays, get well, you're in the hospital, someone's passed away. I mean, so the customer base is ginormous, as are the applications.
Yeah.
So I think it has so much potential, and at some point you could even grow it beyond stuffed animals, and it could be a box of anything.
Oh yeah, could be a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
So what's the craziest request you've ever had?
Well, sorry, nothing. It's all PG, I think. But there was one.
Why does it have to be?
Well, I don't know, because you clicked.
Crazy.
I don't
crazy.
know. Your face
crazy.
was weird.
What's the craziest thing?
Well, I don't know. So the craziest one I got was
in lingerie or something. Sending it out there.
The craziest one I got was somebody wanted to know if I could customize it for a stockbroker, and I was like, I guess.
What'd you do? Just soak it in grease?
No. So I ended up putting a toddler tie on it. And I found that, the ticker tape for stock market, there was a tie tack that I found on eBay.
Nice.
So we did a ticker tack, tie tack, the tie, and some chocolate gold coins.
Nice.
It was actually super cute.
That's
She
pretty
loved
cool.
it. But so that was probably the most specific.
And is that the most memorable one, or is the most memorable one the first one you ever did? Probably.
No, the most memorable one is a really sad story.
Really?
Yes.
You
Do
don't
you
want
have
to tell
tissues?
it? You don't want to tell it?
You're going to need Kleenex.
Let's
cry.
hear it. Let's hear it. And there's a good chance that I'll cry.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to try. So we got an order a couple months after we had started, and there was a woman who passed away, and she had 4 kids, and they were 9 to 14. And so the woman this woman ordering wanted to send them each boxes. My mom passed away when I was 9. So kind of, like you can identify a little bit. So I had written a separate message for the kids, like, here's what I would have maybe wanted to hear as a kid, or like now as a mom, here's what I would want my kids to hear.
And you did that on your own recognizance, right? I mean, they didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I could maybe write like a different message or whatever. And then she sent me a picture of the mom with her kids to print that I included in the box. So that whole weekend I was like crying, packaging all the boxes up. And then when I asked the woman what she wanted me to write in the card, she had asked for the Lord's blessing. So may the Lord bless you and keep you, which is not like super uncommon, but I don't think it's common for a card message. And what hit me the most was that when my mom, so she had breast cancer, when she was in the hospital, she'd asked the pastor to recite the Lord's blessing to her and requested that at her funeral.
Yeah.
And that felt like way too coincidental. You know what I mean? And so that was obviously super emotional on many levels, but also made me feel like what we're doing is a good idea. And like maybe my mom's nudging me a little bit to keep doing it. So that was really impactful. And we'd only been doing it for like 2.5 months, I think.
Yeah. That's it. Oh man, that's a big deal.
So that was a good one.
That sounds like a good one. For you to do that on your own, I think that means a lot to those people. They probably don't know what it took to get that. And when they receive it, it means the world to them and makes them feel probably a little bit more special, a lot better than what they're going through. You show up in people's lives when they need it, I mean, that's you. So that's pretty cool.
Jeff, that's nice.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to say anything nice to me today.
Really?
Yeah.
I always say nice stuff to you.
You are super, you roast me.
Are you kidding me?
No, I thought I was going to get roasted.
I mean, I am so excited to have you here today because we are so close and like we get along and we do all these.
We do.
And we're always like funny getting along,
Giving each other credit,
and now I find out that you don't really care for it. So that's
no,
great.
it's my favorite. But I thought you were going to like nail me to the wall today.
I think a lot of people have that feeling about me. Like they come in with dukes up. They don't want to come in and talk. They want to, what does BoxFull need the most right now?
Brand awareness.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell someone, I started a business. It's called BoxFull. And they're like, what's that? And I say, well, we send a hug in a box. And they're like, what's that?
Yeah. Keep talking about it.
It is a new concept. There's nothing else that opens like ours does for a hug. So we did submit a patent. So it's patent pending for maybe forever. I don't know. It's been like 2 years since we submitted it, but, so it is one of a kind, which is great because that means there's a lot of opportunity, but also people don't know what it is. So a lot of explaining and talking about it and posting about it and all the things.
I think it's cool. I don't think anybody's sitting around going, boy, I wish there was a bear that I could send in a box. And, I mean, so you have to get it out there. And then when people see it, then they're like, oh man, that's a cool idea.
When people see it, they get it. I mean, we have like 450 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
So when people send it and then person calls you crying because they're so touched that you sent it, because it's a teddy bear in a box, which I had to kind of get over at first because I was almost like a little embarrassed, like that's your business idea. But that bear is being sent to someone in your place at a time that they're either like really happy or sad, but like a major emotional event. So they get this teddy bear and it's something that they can actually hold and squeeze and is there always. So like for my friend, her mom had passed away in December. When Mother's Day came around, I texted her and I'm like, that bear's always there for a hug.
Yeah.
So even well beyond that point, it's a reminder like somebody really cared about you. And if you need a hug, you can grab it.
That's cool. You could open up a tab because the reason I'm thinking about this is I just met with some people in there. They were related to somebody who owns a bunch of Hallmark stores. And when I get a bright idea, like I think that I'm being creative or something like that, I'm like, boy, I could write that in a Hallmark card. And I remember years ago, I went to their website and they're like, listen, we're good. We don't need any help. It's like they have a button down there. Like if you click it, if you have an idea, thereve a page that pops up and says, go away, go away. We don't need you. And so I think that you could probably create a button on your website that says, hey, if you've got any clever, sweet, romantic, nice things to say them here and we could use them or something.
I mean, some of the messages that people write are so touching. We do a lot of long distance relationships.
Yeah.
So that's really sweet. There's a lot of like, I love you. I miss you. Hug this till we can be together. And then even some of the, harder moments, but people write some really incredibly sweet things.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
those are sweet.
you could probably use a little bit of that. Juan's probably getting overwhelmed, you know. I say, hey, Juan, I got something to tell you. I made this up on my own. So what you said before, and I don't think I knew this until I read something about you earlier, that your mom passed away when you were 9. Man, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine going through that. I've been so fortunate in my life to where I've had people pass away almost every year, and some of them are very, very close to me, but never my family, and unless they were older people, my grandparents, you know, and they were at that point. And I don't know if you want to answer these questions or not, but what was that like for you? Do you remember the days before, the days of, the days after, and how in the world did you turn on the right side with going through some trauma like that when you were a little kid?
So my sister was in first grade and I was in third grade, and she had cancer, so she'd had it kind of on and off for a long time, but she passed away when she was 38. So now, as someone who's around that age,
You're above that age.
in the ballpark of that age.
Right.
But I can't imagine. I think probably more about what it was like for her than what I even experienced. Because
Yeah.
at 9, you have no idea. And I don't remember a lot about her. And interestingly, I guess, since starting this business, I've had family members tell me, like, your mom was a really good hugger.
Really?
And I didn't know that, and I didn't ask. So it was kind of unsolicited. But my mom was a super caring, compassionate, she was a stay-at-home mom, and just really caring person. And so I think that part of BoxFull, which has happened obviously many years after the fact, but feels like a continuation of maybe the way she was, caring for others and trying to be helpful. But I think I got really lucky because my dad's amazing. So my dad, my sister, and I were super, super crazy tight, the three of us growing up. And he's also really intense. So I think he wouldn't let us fail.
There you go.
So we got very lucky. I also, I still keep in touch with my first grade teacher, Mrs. Sporer. And she, we did sleepovers with her. And I think so, we had a really special network after my mom passed away, because it could have gone a lot of different ways and it didn't.
A lot of different ways. So was your dad at Ford the whole time?
Yeah, my dad's he's a mechanical engineer, Ford motor guy forever.
I didn't know if they jump back and forth from Ford, because in the building business, you see this guy working here and then there and then there. And
no,
it's a kind of you're not allowed to cross that line, right?
When I was little, if somebody had a Toyota, I wouldn't ride in their car.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, I can't.
Well, that's understandable.
I can't. But I can't ride in that. We only ride in Ford cars. Even today, when I go get a rental car, I'm like, I would like a Ford, GM, or Chrysler. Please don't give me a Toyota.
Man,
I know.
You're in HR. You're not supposed to.
We're super brainwashed.
Listeners on the WB download, so I don't know.
Is Toyota a sponsor?
Not yet. So your dad, you made a good point about thinking about what she was going through and not necessarily what you were going through. But your dad had to be struggling.
I can't even wrap my head around.
And then to pull through and to raise you two and be able to still stand on two legs that's amazing.
My dad has a very deep faith. I grew up Lutheran, so I think we went to a Lutheran school. We were very, very active in our church. So I don't know if just community and my dad and the people around us kind of helped us stay on the right path, I guess.
That's good.
So, but then when I reach a certain age and our kids are a certain age, that hit me a couple of years ago, and I'm like, well, this was the age my mom passed away.
Right.
This would be the last point in time that my kids would know anything about me. That to me is kind of heartbreaking. I can't imagine having your kids, you're not going to be here, and they're not going to know anything more about you. That I can't wrap my head around. I
can't either. I couldn't either. That would, it's amazing what your life changes when you have kids. Mm-hmm. And you think you know what love is, and you're dating people when you're younger and whatever, even when you get married, and you think you know the definition of love, when love really has no true definition until you get the feeling of it. And when you have kids, that changes. But for me, it changed the world. It just changed how I felt, changed how I viewed things, changed everything about everything that went on around me. And you just, man, it's just amazing the feeling that you have.
And then to know that you're just going to be gone.
Right. Well, wasn't taking it there. I thought we were trying to move forward here.
Okay.
I'm just
no,
kidding.
let's move forward.
You're right.
Because
You're
this
right.
is very depressing.
I know it's not very depressing. It's just emotional. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know. I'm watching you and I'm like, I know you're just going to make fun of me for the rest of my life if I start crying. So I'm just like trying to, I'm pinching my leg and like banging my head off I got my fingers stuck in a drawer over here, just trying to create pain. So let's move on. Let's move on. All right.
Something much happier.
I am just, you don't need to hear this from me, but I am super proud to know you and super proud that you have come this far going through something like that in your life. It's really cool. It's cool to be here. It's not cool that happened, but it's cool that you made it and you're here. So let's talk about this. You are a self-proclaimed hug expert. I want to know what makes you better at hugging than me.
Probably because I really think about it. So like when I'm hugging someone, I'm not just like, hey, how's it going? It's not a handshake. Like if I'm excited to see you, I want you to feel how excited I am to see you. So like I hug you really tight. So I'll pick Shannon up off the ground when I'm really excited to see her.
You pick me up off the ground. I just, for an HR person, you're breaking all the rules, but yeah. But
I think like for me, like when I am hugging someone, I want them to feel what I'm feeling. If they're going through something sad and I am sad for them, then I want them to feel like I'm so sorry you're sad.
Yeah.
You know, so
that energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a transfer of energy.
So that makes the perfect hug, right? The transfer of energy, the energy that you're trading energy.
Yes. Like a half hug or like a side hug or, same as like a crappy handshake. Like you want to,
man, that's a good
feel like someone's like intentionally engaging with you.
That is an awesome way to look at it. Man, look at you. So it's like, I always think, have you ever seen that movie, The Green Mile?
Yeah.
And like when John Coffey, he like whatever he does to those people and he takes the pain out of them and then it weirdly blows out of his mouth. But like when you're hugging,
great visual. Yes.
When you're hugging, it's that's what you can do. Yeah. You can take that energy away from them, which is good or bad. So you have a rule of thumb on hugs, like people you're going to hug and
hug everyone.
Really? So yes. I can't do that. Some women, I'm not allowed.
Well, I'm an equal opportunity hugger.
Others are okay. Some folks, they're too fragile because apparently I'm bigger than what I think I am, and I can hurt them. Dudes, they get a hug if like we're tight. I've even got a handful of guys that'll give you a kiss on the cheek.
Did you kiss one on the cheek?
I don't think I've ever kissed one.
Okay.
I'm not much of a kiss giver, but I have to be a receiver because sometimes these guys I'm just like, you just gotta let the big bear eat. I'm not gonna be able to stop him. Here he comes. And there's like probably like 2 or 3 dudes that are like that, but they're also like, most of those guys are Italian and I think that's the way they do it.
Okay.
And then I feel like I'm made, you know what I mean? Like now I can go out and kill somebody and I get away with it because I've kissed on the cheek. It just doesn't work like that. But seriously, so I think that
you're going to have a lot of editing to do.
We're going to let it play. We do edit, but we're not going to let it play. But so I think that there's some dudes I won't no hug. Like I'll hug 3 dudes and there'll be a dude standing out here on the end and you don't get a hug because I don't know you. You've done something to aggravate me or it's just a handshake. Well, right? You have to break it down.
Yes. I guess I should back up. I hug everyone that I want to feel a certain way, I guess. I'm not, there's some people I don't like, and so I'm not going to hug them.
Yeah.
But, like if you're excited to see that person, male, female, anybody, I'm going to be super excited to see you and give you a hug.
I get like it's
like a puppy dog.
I've said, don't hug the dog. I've said this a lot of times. I get a lot more excited to see people than they do to see me sometimes. So I'm coming in and I'm coming in hot. And when we get done with the house, sometimes, I'll be, everybody's emotional. And sometimes like the woman's just like, don't hug me and I'm coming in. I'm like, I'm already so 3/4 of the way. I can't stop. And like, she'll give me the shoulder tuck, and it turns into a 1-arm awkward thing. And I'm like, I've been working with you people for 3 years and I just ruined it. It's just not as easy as going up and hugging somebody. Yeah. But sometimes people are smaller than me and sometimes but I'm going for it because I'm a hugger. I like the hug.
I feel like you're overanalyzing it.
Do you?
I think so.
I don't think so because I you know why I overanalyze it? Because I take a lot of criticism. That's why. and if I'm going to get criticized, I'm going to get criticized via hug. So there's boundaries, right? Yeah. There's boundaries on hugging. So why do you think BoxFull is so impactful?
Because I think it is something different. It is, like I said, it's like you're sending it in your place. So it's not just something that's going to get like thrown away or whatever. I mean, any thoughtful gesture is a lovely gesture and someone should do it. But I think what makes BoxFull stand out is that it's not even just a thoughtful gesture. It's also like a tactile experience from the standpoint that there is something for you to hold. There's something for you to squeeze. We actually just started sending some boxes with these things. They're called Damn It dolls.
Oh, nice.
So it's like this voodoo doll looking thing, and you can like whack it on the table when you're mad.
This is taking a different direction.
So, well, we include it with a hug. Okay. So like for some folks who are going through like a really difficult time recently, someone had a cancer diagnosis. So you're going to have sad days, and then you're going to have other days where you're like super mad. So there's like a hug.
I know nothing about that.
A hug, and then like, you know, the Damn It doll. But the point is like, it's something physical that you can like be mad and get energy out, but like squeeze and hug and get energy out. So I think that's what makes it different.
That's good.
Than like a box of cookies or an edible arrangement.
I heard Steve Harvey one time. You know who Steve Harvey is, and I'd heard him talking about. He's like, you can be mean and angry and be a Christian at the same time. He said, I was so mad at my neighbor one time because I went over there and I was ripping him up and down, and I told him I was going to kill him, and then I told him I was going to pray for him.
It's just
he goes,
balance.
I'm going to kill you, and he goes, I'm going to pray for you.
It's balance. That's right.
That's a Damn It doll thing. So what advice do you have to someone who's trying to start their own business? Because I can tell you my advice. My advice is don't do it. Keep working for somebody else. I mean, good Lord.
But you know what? Especially working in HR, and especially the last couple of years with all the layoffs, like no job is safe. But also, I don't want my job to be at the mercy of someone else. You know, like my ability to, you know, to care for my families sits in somebody else's hands. That isn't a great place to be either. So neither option is easy. But if you're going to do one, I do see the value in picking a business that you care about. I mean, I would never, ever have used the term like, what are you passionate about? What's your purpose? Like, I always thought that was cheesy and dumb, frankly. And they talk about it a lot in like corporate settings. Like, what are you passionate about? What, you know, whatever. I genuinely do now feel that I have found my purpose. I mean, to create and put out a product that connects people, makes them feel good, makes them feel happy, reinstates relationships or helps grow relationships. Like, that's freaking awesome. And I want to do that every single day. So now that I feel like I found truly my passion, that's what I want to do every day. I don't want to, as much as I love being counsel to client groups in a corporate setting, like once you've kind of found what you're really passionate about, you want to do that.
Yeah. You just got to
be able
to make money on
it. That is another component. Yes. My advice, to go back to your question, because I didn't really answer it, is just like, if you feel strongly about something, to just do it, which I know is like cliche and obvious, but it's obvious because that is the step. Like, a lot of people have ideas or, think they might want to do something. Like, if you don't just start taking an action towards it. We didn't write a business plan. I still don't have a business plan. We just started it. We opened a shop. We got bears. We started it.
Really?
Does that surprise you? Are you shocked?
No, I'm not.
Now, maybe that's not always a great approach, but I just mean, like, don't wait. Like, if you have an idea and it's something that you care about, like, just go do it. Go do it.
I think that I agree with you 100%. I think that's great. If everybody followed that advice, we'd have billions of people out there trying to run their own business and nobody working. And
well, there's that too.
But I mean, not to say the people who own their business don't work, but I think there's a certain level of comfort that people have staying and work for somebody else. There's a certain level of comfort that your family has just being on the other side of it. I've owned my own business for years and years and years, and there's a certain level of comfort I think that you could have working for somebody else. There's a certain level of freedom that you can have working for yourself. There's a whole nother level of discipline that you have to have for yourself. There's a whole nother level of gaining, for me, 60% of my forehead and losing, 80% of the back of my head and hair. And, I always tell people, like, I'm 48, and I look like I'm 100.
You do not.
And I always tell people, say, look at me, it's not that stressful. I'm only 22 years old. And they're like, and they always go, really? Yeah. It's crazy, the stress that comes through it, just keeping it going.
I agree.
And I think if you talk to a lot of buddies of mine who are builders, they aren't focused on how much money they're making It's mostly about the succeeding, the part of it, and whatever there is in their succession idea. That's what keeps them going. For me, keeping this tradition, family business going. Keep being a leader in the industry, and providing for my family. And just working hard all the time. That's what always keeps me going. But
I mean, it is a lot of pressure.
It is,
and I don't even feel it. And, a 16th of what you feel. So I do know that it's a lot of pressure that's a lot of responsibility to the employees, to your customers, to your family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not for everyone. But if someone is thinking about it, then I feel like you just have to take some action. If you keep thinking about it, you'll never do it.
And any of the money that you make, the majority of it is not yours. You have to remember that. That all goes somewhere else. It goes somewhere else. It's not yours. So what hasn't worked for you in the past in businesses?
That's a great question.
You're like looking at me like, I can't believe you just asked me that. What's your problem? I gave you the questions beforehand.
That one wasn't on there, was it? Well, I mean, what I can say is what I really love about this business, but I also don't think I would have had the courage to do it, is, so like when we had the daycare in the past, that was a franchise, which is nice from the standpoint that there's like already all this infrastructure and resources, but then you pay for that infrastructure and resources. So whatever you're making, you're already handing a portion away to someone else. Business partners can be challenging. So, that's another component. And I'm glad, what I will say is I'm glad that in this BoxFull experience, there aren't business partners. So, like Juan and I are responsible for it, and that's it. And it's our idea. So no one else gets a piece of what we make and create.
Yeah.
So, I personally wouldn't want to do like a franchise or a partnered experience again, like we've done in the past. But also doing that kind of gave us the confidence to say like, well, we could run a business though, even if that one didn't work out.
I would agree with you. So what you're saying is don't go into business with somebody else. That's what you just said. That's what I heard you say.
If you can avoid it.
Right. It's tough. I mean, partnerships are tough, and that's all I have to say about that. But so when I think you answered this already, but how do you find your purpose in life? I mean, how does Jen Barcenas find her purpose in life?
What I will say is I do think that, so as working in corporate America, working in HR, where you're supposed to be this like really strategic business partner, helping the business solve all these complex problems. I had gotten a couple of performance reviews where my manager was just like, "You're really thoughtful. You're the most thoughtful person I've ever met." And I was like, okay.
Like, are you going to ready to fire me?
Do you guys care in my day-to-day that I'm thoughtful? Like, no. But I'm looking for feedback. Like, you're such a impactful partner, and I'm getting like, you're so thoughtful. You're really sweet.
It's like saying you have a great personality.
Yes. But in hindsight, I feel like I shouldn't feel bad about that. If I'm a really thoughtful person, then I should go leverage that. And so I do feel like the thoughtfulness that I try to have led me to BoxFull. So as far as like, how do you find your purpose? It's not a formula, but I do feel like don't feel bad about what you're good at. If you really have a strength, then go find where that strength is valued. Yes, you also have to pay your bills, but where you can try to merge the two is, I think, how you get closer to your purpose.
I think the hustle is probably the other thing. I mean, when we hire people around here, we and I think you have to hold yourself to this level, but it's Out of the Ideal Team Player is the book it's called, and they hire people based on hungry, humble, and smart, and you draw three circles that overlap in the middle, and you want somebody as close to the middle of that as possible. And so they have to be hungry. They got to want to come to work. They got to want to come up with fresh ideas. They got to drive themselves. They got to push, and always be fired up and interested in moving forward. And digging in, and you got to be humble. I've got to be able to talk to you. I've got to be able to talk to my homeowners who are, and many times multi-millionaires. I got to be able to talk to the concrete guy. I got to be able to talk to my pastor. I got to be able to talk to all these different people, and not that I have different personalities for all of them, but I mean, you have to be ride that roller coaster, and you have to flex, and you got to be smart. I mean, you have to make good decisions. And I'm not talking about book smart. Like, you have to be able to come in here and do multiplication.
Where do you fall on this?
And I'm right in the middle.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm so far hungry. I'm more hungry. I'm more hungry than anything. I think I am anyway, because we had this conversation with the company a couple of weeks ago. I think I like to think I'm probably in the middle, and it's more because I'm the one saying understanding this stuff. And I've had a lot of help, you know, I mean, I think that when you are in business, and we talk about this here a lot, is you've got to have help. And I have a business coach. I have friends. I have my pastors at church. I had a therapist for a while, and she moved away. I think I made her quit. No, but she was, and I'm not afraid to admit that, because I think that she was, and it's not because I'm loony, well, because I am, but because she was like a life coach. I mean, really, really helpful. And just, so I need as much help as I can get to make sure that I'm keeping my path as straight as possible, or staying as close to the path as possible. And whether that path curves or straight or what, I don't know. But I think that's really something you need in business. And you have to have something like that, hungry, humble, and smart, to make sure that you're focused on it. If you're right in the middle and you think you're done, I think you're in trouble. Yeah. And so I think that a lot of those things you have going on there, you need all that help. So if you're going to open your own business, you need that. I mean, I think also that in the building business anyway, I'm just surprised that we're all not all like bipolar crazy people, because you're up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. And I think that that's, you know, I talked to a lot of other people that own businesses, and Adam Weber from AEDOR and a couple of those guys. I'm like, we need doctors that are only for people who own businesses, because you got all kinds of shit wrong with you, and it doesn't happen to anybody else. Your stomach's all a mess. You know, your system is all a mess. You know, you're losing your hair. You're stressed out. Everybody's like, have you been in the sun? I'm like, no, I'm stressed out. and
it's called high blood pressure.
Yeah, I'm doing high blood pressure, and whatever. I had a tough weekend. So I think there's so many different things that go on.
And I'm on like the very baby beginning stage of some of for sure of what you've experienced. But I spend more days crying than not crying. Like, it is really stressful, and it is a lot of pressure when it's just you. And there are like really wonderful days. So that's what probably keeps you going. But I mean, I have a lot of hard days too. Yeah. Where you're like, what am I doing?
And I think it's like anything, you know, you have to balance the good days with the hard days, and hopefully the good days outweigh the hard days. But let's keep moving through our because I think we talked about a lot of this stuff, and we answered this. I just write all these questions down for you, and I want to make sure that we have good. We talked about your website. Are you willing to hire somebody right now for BoxFull? Do you need help?
Yeah. Yes. If it's helping me build awareness, marketing is not my strength. I mean, I've worked in HR and I had an idea, but I'm not like a strong marketer. Yeah. So that's primarily where I've been looking for help.
So we talked about what's next did we talk about what's next for you? What's next for you? I mean, ideally, would it be that you're going to quit your job and you're going to go be BoxFull full-time, or
someday?
I don't think we want your people that you work for listening to this podcast. I'm afraid that they're going to be, or maybe they do. They're going to be like, we need to dump some money on her to keep her here. She's leaving.
Maybe that's
She's
it.
Leaving.
No, I mean, yes, my long term, like over the next 5 years or something, is to do this full time. For now, because we have a day job and I like my day job, and so does Juan. Like, I'd like to just reinvest, you know, everything into helping the business continue to grow. But like what's next is really just, I think, getting us to a place where we can scale, like improving our website. We have a packaging engineer that's helping. Like right now, it's a really manual process of how I assemble the boxes. So he's going to help us have a more sophisticated solution so that, you know, again, we can scale. So for right now, we're just focused on what systems and things do we need to be able to scale? Yeah,
I think that's something you're always going to be focused on. That's another thing for business. I always tell people too, when I think about building houses, I always thought about growing up was, you know, running equipment, slinging dirt and throwing 2x4s. And you need systems, you need people, you need HR, you need all this business stuff that goes along with this to keep you going. And I think that's you're always going to be working on those systems. So, man, you know, give me the switch there. What's next for Jen Barcenas there? What are you going to do? What makes you, what would just make you outrageously happy right now?
I mean, I am pretty happy.
I know you are. So nothing. Sitting right here with me.
Would be Done. For more. Well, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Gosh. I mean, for more people to know about us, like just that brand awareness. Please go tell 2 friends. You know, if more people knew that we existed, I would be outrageously happy.
Yeah. I think that's, You think about it, how much easier that is today than what it used to be back in the day, like before the internet.
I guess it's easy, but it also feels really freaking hard.
Oh, it's super
like,
hard.
Should you be on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or YouTube or like
put an ad in the Yellow Pages and be done with
so many freaking platforms and like, should you be in a blog? Should you have somebody, post a video for you?
Start a podcast. Yeah.
Should start a podcast.
That's what you do. That's what happened to us. We were talking about. I love Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast and the Dale Jr. Download, and a friend of mine who was a racer that lived here in Loveland was passed away, and he was one of the single greatest storytellers I've ever known. I mean, just listen to him. His name was Richard Hoffman. He would tell stories all the time, and when he passed away, I was so upset. But then I was like, I got to find somewhere to fill the gap, and Dale Jr. interviews all these racers, and they sit around, and they tell these stories, and they get them going, and it's just like it's so much fun to listen to for me anyway.
Yeah.
And then when we were sitting in a marketing meeting, and one of the Leanne says we need help with this blog, and the blog is basically me writing out everything, handing it to somebody who can rewrite it and put it on the internet. And I'm like, this is stupid. Why don't we just start our own podcast? And like 2 days later, we had all of our equipment, and we started our podcast, and now we're interviewing wonderful people like you.
It looks very official and professional. I had no idea.
But it's cool that, and everybody says that. They're like, oh my gosh.
I thought we were going to be like both of us hovered over your phone talking into the microphone.
We could. I think that as time goes on, I can see a couch over here and some microphones coming off the wall, so people can sit in here and they can have a few drinks. They can do whatever they can. I want to interview people who I think are great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I get so excited. And I think that I'm so excited. And I keep saying, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have this person on here, and I'm so excited to sit here with you. But it's an opportunity for people to hear your voice and hear what you're saying and what you're doing. This is the coolest thing ever.
So one of my TikToks did go viral. We had 2 million views.
No kidding.
It had nothing to do with my teddy bears. I was talking over the video, and someone said that I was the human version of a headache.
Wow.
So I'm sure all of your listeners.
That is not nice.
No, right?
The human version of a headache.
Yes.
I think people would probably say that about me. I'm going to use that. All right.
I mean,
so
it was creative.
I'll say this at the end, but I just want to say thank you so much for coming in here. And I hope that this helps you. I hope that this pushes you. I hope that this just takes you in a different level. I hope you come back, because I always want people to come back. I want to hear your success story. In another year, we come back and we sit down here at the same place and we have this conversation, and you are selling bears like crazy, and not because of me on your podcast here, but because of your own hard work and your drive. And I have this unbelievable respect for you and this great relationship for you. I love you, not like that, but I love you. And I hope Shannon doesn't get mad for me saying that. I think it's okay, because we're
cool.
family.
We're cool.
But you rock, man. And I'm pushing you. I'm your fan, and keep on going.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
So I've got some.
Oh God.
We call it lightning round,
yes,
but it never goes fast. Okay. So I've gone out and asked some other friends of yours.
Oh shit.
I said, give me some topics, give me some questions, and they're just. I'm always so disappointed in this, because I want something that's going to catch everybody off guard. But so I asked Shannon Whelan, my wife. She said, if you could be a superhero, who would you be?
That's a weird question.
It's not a weird question.
I don't know.
It was a good question.
Okay. Well, Captain America, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
He was a dude.
I know, but everybody loves Captain America.
Okay. All right. What is one thing that you cannot live without?
Diet Coke.
Really?
Yeah. And bourbon.
And bourbon.
Not together.
Today, in the morning. What are the 3 top bucket list things that you want to do or achieve? Or just name one if it's going to be that.
Well, right now it's launch a successful business. That's like all I can see right now.
Launching BoxFull, not just a successful business, but BoxFull.
Specifically BoxFull.
Yeah.
We have a lot of bucket list items like vacations we could take or things we could do as a family. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
I sat down, we were talking about this because we're getting ready to go on a cool vacation, but I sat down about a year ago and just wrote down all these different places I wanted to go, because I'm so tired of talking about it. Because if you talk to Shannon, we're going to go to the beach every single time and sit there and do nothing for 5 days.
Because that's amazing.
It's miserable.
No, it's lovely.
We got to go out and do something. So, all right. So the next person I asked was Katie Mattis.
Oh,
you know the cool thing about Katie Mattis?
Yeah.
Her maiden name is Whelan.
Random. And you are related, or you're not related?
I don't know. I think that we are
like
somehow, because I talked to her dad a couple times at a couple parties and not parties, that were kids' parties, birthday parties, and we were trying to trace it back. And I think her dad or her grandpa had a Lou Whelan's Cafe down in Price Hill, and then somehow or another there was, as we got further away from us, there was some sort of connection there. But I don't know. I mean, Whelan's not a very popular name.
No, it's not common.
So we would just assume that we're all related. And
So your cousin Katie, what did she say?
My cousin Katie. She's awesome, by the way, and so is her husband Tony. But how do you keep your husband happy with all you have going on? Your full-time HR, startup business, realtor, coaching. How do you keep Juan happy?
I don't.
You don't?
Thanks, Katie, for the question.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your answer, Katie.
I hope to. I try to. I don't know. We don't do a very good job of like making time for ourselves. But okay, fine. Thanks, Katie. Next question.
Oh my God! Wow. I thought you were going to get into something there, and you're like, no. I'll move on. Being in the HR, is there a stigma against people who job hop?
I think back in the day there was. I think less so now because people really don't have loyalty. There aren't pensions. There's like, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of mechanisms to drive loyalty. But I think there are still people that see it as a negative. I think as long as you can walk through the rationale for each move and it makes sense, then people can wrap their heads around that. But yeah.
It affects me. I mean, when I'm looking at a resume, and because I always think of when I'm hiring somebody, I'm like, you're going to spend the rest of your life here. And I see dancing daisies, and it's just like, great, And
if you get 5 years out of someone, that's a long time now.
That's what Preacher Ben said the other day. He said the average person stays in their job 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, really?
Now, as an HR person, I would argue, like, why are they leaving? Like, what aren't you giving them? Do they feel supported and valued and have the tools to do their job?
Right.
But, we can dig into that later.
I'm giving you a little stare there, like, I listen to this crap, because every time I have somebody quit, somebody goes, well, what's going on over there? What are you doing to them? How come they didn't want to stay? And I'm like, didn't you ever give really? Again, it's always me. Do you, so Katie also wants to know, do you respond to all your texts?
That's rude.
Yeah, that's a no. And then how many, and I think when she said this to me, I remembered this about you. How many unread emails and texts do you have on your phone right now?
More than one.
It's like 1,000, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't have my phone because I am laser focused on you, Jeff.
Oh, shucks.
So my phone is not within my reach.
So I'll answer that question for you. It's like 1,000. And that drives me. I go and find, I couldn't do anything with, I can't do 20% of what my phone actually does, but I know how to get that stuff off my phone that says read or not read because it drives me crazy. So I asked Juan Barcenas,
oh boy,
guy you know well, and he was in a hurry because he had to go out. He's got an engine running or something like that somewhere. But what is your ideal vacation spot?
He knows that it is somewhere that's like a little hut over aqua green water.
Really? Like Fiji or something like that?
That's on the bucket list.
Yeah?
Yes.
My kids want to go there too.
It would be incredible.
Yeah.
I think it would be incredible. I'm actually scared of fish. Oh. So I feel like I think it would be so amazing. And then we would get in the hut and I'd be terrified. So
you like fish are going to come up to the hut and eat you or something? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't really know. I don't know. Yeah. It's all irrational fears.
Okay. So
it's not entirely attainable.
I'm just thankful that we have a whole nother episode sitting in front of us that we can talk about on a different channel.
Fish phobias, yeah.
What is your most special memory with your sister and your dad growing up?
Oh, there's a long list. Our favorite movie is The Three Amigos.
Yeah.
And we watched that, like 200 times. Like there was a phase of a couple years where we just rented it from Blockbuster like every single weekend and watched The Three Amigos. So that's, I've got a soft spot for that movie.
Are you a Steve Martin fan?
Huge Steve Martin fan.
Have you watched Only Murders in the Building?
I have not. And Martin Short is in it too. Yeah, so I probably should. I just haven't picked it up yet.
It's good. It's like, Steve Martin is like acclaimed as one of the greatest comedians ever. And I could never figure out why, because we listened to Comedy Today. Like we're going to see Nate Bargatze here in a couple of weeks. And like, he's a stand-up comedy funny guy, like just by saying stuff. And Steve Martin and Martin Short are both guys like that just bring this thing to you where it doesn't hit you until later on. Yes. And that's funny.
They're hilarious.
Yeah.
Juan actually got me tickets to go see Steve Martin and Martin Short when they were like touring and doing a comedy show. And it was hilarious. My cheeks hurt from the whole night. And I was so mad because they asked for volunteers to come up to do the Three Amigos salute.
Oh,
And I hesitated, and somebody else got picked. I was so sad.
that's disappointing. One of the Steve Martin said, one of the greatest things about traveling with Martin Short is no paparazzi. You never have to worry about it.
That's sad. They should have paparazzi.
Right. What makes your closest group of friends so special? Who are these people?
Well,
I don't think you want to start naming because
that Juan wrote that question.
no, I just made this up and put his name on it.
Well, I think what makes them so special is that even if I don't respond to their text message, they're still very supportive of me. So
I'm one of your closest friends. Wow, I feel privileged.
well, I was so surprised when I was at that chamber meeting a few weeks ago, and Shannon shows up, Joelle shows up. I had some other friends that had come, and it was really sweet because Shannon and Joelle were kind of like, well, we're going to come in. Like, we know you got a crazy schedule, so we inserted ourselves in the schedule.
That's good.
And it was really sweet. And it's not that I'm so busy for other people, but with a full-time job and trying to grow the business and kids and like all the things. And I try to do all of the things, which is a problem sometimes, that I just, you run out of time at some point. So they're special because they love me anyways.
That's good. I tell this story all the time, and I'm not trying to override whatever you're saying, but my mom and dad had a group of friends when we were growing up, and if we get older, some of them pass away, they move on or whatever, but they've been friends since they were in high school, and they've always been close. There was 16 of them at some point in time, and then we became friends with their kids. But one of the most memorable things I know about my childhood and about my parents is that group of friends that they have and how close they were, but how they treated me as a person. And there was a mutual respect between them. And I think that was something that always, when you would think about your closest group of friends, how they treat your kids, how they treat your husband, how they treat your family, and how that common bond comes along. It's pretty cool.
Like we're all family.
Yeah. It's like we're all family. It's a little bit better than family sometimes. When I coach football and I have a word of the day every night for the kids, and I'm like, let's talk about this word, and we say something about family, and somebody said to me one time, said not everybody has a good experience with family. So don't be telling these kids, that hey, this is family, and they're going, I don't want this to be like my family.
I quit.
I am here to get away from it, and unfortunately, it's the truth. Family's not for everybody. So hey, this is Jen Barcenas from BoxFull, and her website is sendaboxfull.com. What's your email address? It's
sendaboxfull@gmail.com.
sendaboxfull@gmail.com. She is doing some wonderful things. You guys have heard what she has to say here today. You can hear and see her heart from your speakers right now. I can tell you that. And I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm proud to have you here today. And man, I just want to see this thing go, and I want to see you succeed. So thank you for being here, and keep on rocking, girl.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thank you. This is Jen Barcenas on the WB Download. Well, there you have it, folks. Right there. I told you, I warned you beforehand. Listening to Jen and listen to her story and her ideas and all of her hard work, putting this company together, putting this idea together. Let's get her on Shark Tank. Let's everybody try and somehow or another vote to get her on Shark Tank, man. She needs some help. She needs some guidance. She needs some money. She needs all the things that it takes to get a startup going and make it big. And she doesn't want to make it big to be profitable. Everybody wants to be profitable, but she wants to make it big so she can share, and other people can share their heart with people across the country and across the world by sending a box full. And so, man, I get a little choked up talking to her because she means a lot to me and my wife. She's a special person, but listen to how she's come up with this idea and what she's doing with it, and the direction that she's gone with it is amazing. So, hey, I hope you guys all loved it. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I hope you go to a box full and send it to somebody that you love or you want to just say hi to, and really appreciate Jen taking time out of her busy day and her schedule to come on here and do her interview with us. Man, like I said, there's so many of these people that are on this show that I have so much respect for. I get so excited about. And that's why they're here. I want their voice out there. I want them to be able to talk to people because I enjoy them. I get a kick out of them. I think that they're great, and I think that you should too when you listen to them. So, hey, everybody, thanks again here on the WB Download. Don't forget that our episodes drop on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. And so we'll be after next episode, man. It'll be after the 4th of July. I think we've already past the saddest day of the year, which is summer solstice, and just, man, makes me want to cry because the days get shorter. But hey, let's get, if you want to join the conversation, I hope you're following us on wherever you get your podcast needs at, on Apple or Google or many other ones. But I hope you're following us. I hope you like us. Don't forget to rate us and listen along, man. It's really important to us. I want to grow this thing so the more people that can hear these people's voice and hear their stories, it'll be the best thing ever. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, email me at wbdownload@wielandbuilders.com. So it's wbdownload@wielandbuilders.com. And if you want to see more behind the scenes of Wieland Builders and see the awesome houses that we build and many pictures that we've done with our customers on our website, it's wielandbuilders.com. And reach out to us if you got any questions. And man, I'd love to have you as a guest on here. I'd love to hear some questions, some comments, whatever you got that would help this world, help this industry. Man, I'd love to hear it. So reach out to us. Thanks again to Jen Barcenas for being on here with us today. Thank you, everybody here for puts this deal on, and thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. It was Jen Barcenas on the WB Download.